live yet. Seems to be. Right, I was just talking to my friend in Discord and about this new coil. Hang on a minute, let me just get this. Oh, where's my lens? Oh, there it is. Right, right. What I want to show you is the focus. These are my new bobbins. I've done some thicker ones. I've got to let them dry now. The coil that I did in cardboard is over here. Now, I can't connect it to a battery for very long because it gets bloody hot because there's not many turns on this, but that's not what's interesting. Let me just get my compass. I want to show you what happens. Can you see the compass? Well, I think you can. Let's move this out of the way. Right, I want to show you what happens with this compass when we have this coil. I'm just going to go get the battery a minute. I'm only using 4 volts because the coil gets pretty hot because there's not many turns on it. But it's the shape that it's there's omnidirectional, right? When the flux, oh, I drew it earlier. Where is it? Where's that bit of paper I drew it on? Is it on here? No, it's not this one. Where did I put it? I don't know where I put that piece of paper now. I drew it out to show a friend of mine, and I don't know where the paper is. Anyway, omnidirectional is when you get, it's when it's spread out, right? When the field is wide. God, I don't believe it. Where have I put it? It can't have gone away. I can't have chucked it away. Did I chuck it in the bin? I don't see how. No, it's not in the bin. Huh, that's weird. I don't get it. Oh, hang on. Huh. Right, so anyway, I drew this out earlier and I can't find it now. Don't matter. Right, a normal coil has it's very wide. It's quite a long way apart. Now, I'm going to put this. I'm going to get this compass there. Now, this coil, I'm just going to connect it to this battery over here, which is off camera. I can't have it connected all the time because it gets frigging hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what happens. Right, with 2 wires, I'll just clip onto these wires. Can't remember which polarity now. Which way around to connect it, but right, let's just I'm just going to pulse it so I don't blow anything up, because this coil, if it gets too hot, I won't be able to hold it. Right, watch what happens when I tap this. You see how focused that is? You see the? Can you see the compass? Can you watch the compass? See it jump away. Now if I turn the coil that way, it still does it. Yeah. Turn the coil at that angle, still does it. Turn the coil at that angle, it's very weak there. That angle, now we're at a 45-degree angle. Now tap it, the wire, look, it's hardly moving. Turn it a bit more, look at that, it's not moving at all. It's just sparking, but the compass is barely moving. Now that is quite extraordinary, really, because that means that there is no field coming out over here, right? It means that the field is not coming out at this point, at this latitude, this angle. it's blocked. It's not getting, it's cancelled out at that point, which is very cool. Because a normal coil, you would have to, well, a normal coil, it would flip, it would start pulling the compass when you turn it perpendicular, you know, if I get an ordinary coil like this, and if it was like that, it would still have an effect on the compass, because this end would be pushing and this end would be pulling, so the compass would still turn. It would effectively still turn at that, like that. This is what I'm trying to get at. Now, another thing to show you is when I stick my magnetic gauge, let's move this out of the way a minute. My magnet is just a bunch of magnets inside here, right? And when I stick them in the middle like this, right, and I pulse it, I hope I've got the polarity right. No, I've got the polarity backwards. I'll have to reverse the polarity on here. Right, now watch. It's pushing that really well. Okay, right, I'll just lay it flat. And let's just, I want to reset it. Right, just pulse it again. It's moving the magnets now. It needs to be, it's not very strong, I admit. This coil isn't very strong because there's not many turns, but if I put it at an angle over here like that, like we had with a compass, and do it, it doesn't do a damn thing. Right on the edge of that coil there, it means it's blocked. So the field, look at this, when I tap it, look, the wire, can you see me touching that wire? Oh, you should be able to do. When I touch the wire, these magnets aren't moving. When I move the coil a little bit this way, still not moving. Put the magnets right in the middle. Now it's moving, look. You see? The magnets just moved then. Just reset them because right. So in the middle, about there, the magnets move. Alright, put it on the edge of the coil, nothing, which is what we're seeing with the compass. So this coil is very directional, it's very focused. We have I can draw it again actually. What we're seeing happening here is, let me just get rid of this coil out of the way a minute. It's quite warm actually, is that? I don't want to ruin my batteries either. Right, I'll just stick them down there and I'll explain what we're seeing. I'm just going to pick the camera up. Oh, there you are, you're chatting to me in the chat. Right, right, let me draw what we're seeing, because I've lost the other diagram. Right, here's a, let me just read what it says. Testing whether the coil shorted and run magnets. Well, that's the whole point. The coils are going to be used to generate power. That's the whole point. That's why I'm winding these coils. But by actually using the coils to energizing the coil and producing a magnetic field, it's helping us to understand the actual field that will be received by the coil, as well as what field the coil can produce. So an omnidirectional coil, right, let's just draw a basic coil, right? Sorry, excuse my horrible drawing, because I'm really terrible. This is a conventional coil, right? Okay, so we have our core material going through it like this, whatever. So what normally happens is we have a field that's basically going around like this, very omnidirectional, and it's also on the other side, like, you know, like this. So this is a conventional coil, that sort of effect, right? We have where the fields come back to the center. Now this coil is different because the coil is basically well, it's quite obvious. It's simply like it's like a leaf, and this is what I was talking about when I had that dream, that premonition, whatever you want to call it, where I was seeing those leaves on a thing. Some were moving clockwise, some were anti-clockwise. What we're doing here is we're simulating that effect now. So what we have is these coils that are actually focused to a point, right? So that the field is very condensed like this. It's very focused, right, like that. So it's in a very powerful field on this side, but on the back edge or on the edge there's virtually nothing, right? So on this very edge where we had put the compass over here, we didn't pick up anything. It didn't move, didn't reflect, which means there's a very sharp cut off at these areas here, right? So these are, I'm just going to put lines through, are the cut off region. So the field is very sharp in the middle and it's very weak around the edges, whereas on this particular arrangement you have a much wider field. This is more focused in the middle, and on the back edge, I don't know, I can't really seem to pick up anything on the back. I tried that. I mean, I could try again, but I think we should just, I mean, you could wind it yourself and experiment with it, I suppose. So yeah, anyway, so it's like a butterfly coil, really, I suppose, if you think about it. Look at it edgeways. The light's not very good in here. I'm trying to get the light on it right, but it's shaped like a butterfly, wings. That blue tape is kind of obscuring the coil, but it's simply a coil that's bent right down the middle. I mean, I can flatten it out, but I don't want to do that. I want to leave it as it is. But I found out if you fold it too far, if you fold it together too much, you just lose everything. The field is just gone. That is the optimum shape. Butterfly wings. Just think butterfly wings. When you're winding it, it wants to be folded like a butterfly wings. That is the optimum that I've basically come to so far. Anyway, so yeah, it's very interesting how the compass just disappeared. It just disappeared when I got right to that edge there. I haven't seen that with the rectangular coils at all. That just doesn't seem to happen, because as you rotate it with a rectangular coil, what happens is that the needle will be parallel to the side of a coil, and as you turn it, the needle will start to move the other way. As you turn it again, the back end of the needle will start pointing towards the other end of the coil. As you know yourself, you've done it yourself, you must have done the test. And as you rotate the coil, you see a relative rotation of the compass. But we're not seeing that with that, because when I got to that edge, it didn't do bugger all. It just didn't flicker, did it, when I was pulsing it? So yeah, interesting. Anyway, that's all. That's just a little bit of a demo on this new coil arrangement that I'm going to be making. Yeah, so I printed some thicker ones because I was thinking, oh well, when you model this stuff up in SketchUp, it always looks bigger. And after I printed it, I was thinking, God, I'm not going to get much wire on these thin ones, which I did earlier. These are the thin ones I did, and they are very thin. So I decided to, those are two thin ones I did. I decided to make some thicker ones. So I've got four of the thicker ones now. So I've actually put them over here. So falling over now. So I've got to let them dry overnight. So there's 4 there. I'll put them on here so they'd get plenty of air ventilation and I wouldn't knock them over. But those are my 4 that I'm going to be winding on tomorrow. Yeah, and then I can stack them, you see. Yeah, wind it and bend it. Yeah, you got to wind it while it's flat, otherwise it's going to be a right nightmare. I can speed wind them while they're flat, and then just bend them into shape once I've got the wire on there. I expect that the backbone on the coil might break, but once the wire's on there, it's not going to matter because the wire's going to hold it all together. The backbone there with the very thin line that I drew in the model, it's a very thin area with it bends, but it shouldn't break. I'm hoping it won't, but I'm not worried because once the wire's on there, the whole thing's going to hold itself together anyway. It's just to give me a structure to wind onto, really. The backbone needs to be strong enough so I can wind onto it without the whole thing collapsing on me. That's all, really. And once it's been wound, then we can start stacking it and try different core material. Yeah, it is weird, very weird. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I mean, I was coming across it because you see, it's all because of that weird dream I had. What was it, 2 weeks ago? All because of that weird dream I had about them, like petals on a thing spinning around, and it kind of inspired me to thinking in terms of I'm thinking about, well, coils and stuff, and I was drawing this other model of a coil, and I was doing the figure 8 coil, which was the unity coil, which is basically a coil where you twist half of it, so you got a figure 8 coil. I was originally thinking of the figure 8 coil like this, where it's a twist bottom half, so this is the reverse polarity of that one to give me an exit strategy so that it wouldn't drag so much. I was originally going to do that. Then I thought, hang on a minute, the people have claimed that when you do that, when you actually have 2 coils side by side, it cancels out all the power. And I'm thinking, well, maybe we don't need to go that far. Maybe all I just need to do is fold it or something. And I was thinking about those leaves and about how the leaves curl up in the middle. And I thought, well, let's try that. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're actually doing right now. We're using a leaf coil, basically. I think that's an butterfly coil. Anyway, I'll disappear because this video is going to get too long. I'm going to go back onto we'll go back onto Discord. Anyway, thanks them 3 for your comments. Yeah, the Akashic Record, yeah. I know all about that. It's a database in the astral or in the spiritual realm which has a record of everything in the universe, and it's all pictorial, and most of it's information that's not even in a specific language. It's universal language that everybody can understand, which is pictorial. And I think that's why the ancient Egyptians used to draw everything in stone, because that was the way they communicated. They didn't use words. Words came along a lot later, and words aren't very complete, and they don't really explain everything the way. Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you in the chat. If I can get the off button. Oh, I've got the chat thing open. I don't want the chat thing open. Right. Oh. Hang on a minute. You just type something else. Oh, that's it, right.